So we got to touch
later.
in.
We
got to touch on something later too.
All right, Jasmine Call, how are you on this fine day?
Great.
Happy Houseplant Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
It's like
National Houseplant Appreciation Day.
That's a holiday for you.
Yeah, it is. Big deal.
Big deal. So is the Secret Garden, and we always love when you guys come back. All right, are you teaching us today? You got to do a little lesson.
Yeah, I think the best way we can appreciate our houseplants is not killing them, right?
Hey,
And that's always the goal.
And really, all they need is some water, right?
And some sun.
Son.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And some light.
She's
Okay, they need a little
They
bit
need
more.
a little bit more than just water.
She's saying, okay,
This
Gary,
is why.
there's more
We're
than
just
water.
adding layers to why we're
She's
with that
writing us
guy.
right now. We'll get into
What have you brought? What have you brought?
I brought some of my favorite houseplants and kind of to talk a little bit about some, especially because we're in January. This is actually the #1 month for houseplant sales in our industry too.
Wow.
Weird, but kind of makes sense because you put your Christmas tree away.
Yep.
And then there's like, yep, you want green. You're doing that kind of like New Year's refresh. You took the tree down and now you have a big space.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up being a big time for houseplants. Also, most people like put their dead houseplants that they killed last year away when they brought their tree in. So now they've got like, you know, I'm ready
just
to
put them in the backyard, then they die in 2 days.
And then they die, and then they just replace them.
All right, you want to give us some tips and things that we can start to think about?
So #1 is the biggest mistake I see people make when they're caring for their plants in the winter time versus how they cared for them throughout the year is they'll water them at the same frequency, even though the plants really don't need that much water in the winter. They're not getting as much sunshine just because we're not getting as much sunshine. The days are shorter, and let's say lately we've had great weather.
Yeah, these last few days.
But this is weird. Normally it's gloomy or, you know.
Exactly.
So when plants aren't getting as much sunshine, they're not actively growing, which means they're not drinking as much water. And then if you are just like, well, I watered every Tuesday last summer, so I'm just going to keep doing that. Then we're going to melt everything or rot it, basically.
Yeah.
So I tell my customers to either you can purchase a moisture meter. I've done this before on the show for succulents, but it works for houseplants too. So I think if you're on a schedule and you're like a person that likes a schedule, I would say just check them every Tuesday, but don't automatically on autopilot just water everything. So I'll do a dry one first. Let's find a dry one. Okay, kind of dry, or this money tree. Let's see. We're gonna stick it all the way into the soil.
Okay.
Like you're baking brownies or something, or a cake.
Well, I bake brownies and cakes all the time.
So when you bring it out, you can tell that it's dry. There's like not any moisture. It feels kind of powdery. That one.
This one here.
This one's kind of dry, but this one I watered before we came.
Okay, so we can see a difference here.
Can you see how like the soil
now you
sticks?
see it. That means it's wet down there.
And that's what we want? Or that's what we know?
That's how you know. So it depends on the plant now, basically. So this plant, for example, this is a money tree. This actually represents good luck.
Oh, good. I gotta shake
It's a really good house. Yeah, shake it.
I gotta go deposit this.
It's a really good one to give as a housewarming gift. It likes to dry out and be like completely dry in between watering, and anything with like a chunky stem like this tends to want that because it doesn't want to, like the base of that plant doesn't want to be sitting in wet soil all the time.
Okay, because all the water's in here.
So for this one, you would want it to be dry, completely bone dry before you watered, and even maybe wait a couple days on that one.
Give it the water.
Yes. Now something like this hates to dry out and gets super dramatic and droopy when it's dry, and will just like kind of like
it's like, hello, I'm thirsty.
So this one, if you check this one and it's even a little bit dry, you should water.
Okay, got it.
So and then what about this one? This one?
Okay, let's bring it in. Let's bring it in.
Okay, every time.
So but here's the deal. Look at it. I think it's doing okay.
Well,
it's
better than before.
I like that you think that.
Well, where this was 2 sticks. You actually helped us bring this somewhat back to life. I see new growth.
Yes.
But I do think we need to use her like testing with the stick policy.
You can see.
We need that.
See, no, it's too dry. I'm telling you, I can tell.
You already know?
I can tell.
Leslie, where you been, Leslie?
Come on, Leslie, what's going on? It's actually Nadia. We transferred the responsibilities over to Nadia. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to finish things off with you. There's the information on the screen right there. Yes, the Secret Garden, and of course it is National... what is it?
Houseplant
Appreciation Day. I forgot. I looked down and I'm like, wait, what is
it's already on the
What are we talking about? Still on all this.
We'll be right back. Wait, what's going on? All right, we got about 40 seconds left. What do we got? One last thing here for us.
Okay.
One last tip.
The other things I would talk about, just kind of like we talked about watering and adjusting that. I also think that if you've had your plants really close to the window, when we get cold and the window gets super cold. Yeah, we left some plants while we were closed. Remember I was saying we were closed for winter break?
Yes.
So nobody was at the nursery, and when I came in, some of these money plants had been bumped right up against the window, and they had like they had crispy little bits. So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
We're out. That's it. We're out of time.
We're done.
You got to come back and explain more.